This is Show NCL Tell, a podcast for North Iowans about creating digital harmony.
Hey, I'm Vernon Johnson, and we are on Show NCL Tell. Today, I'm with
Joshua Eckert, the systems administrator here at CLTel.
Awesome, Josh. Good to have you back on the show. Can you talk to us about OS and browser updates? And we're going to talk about that today. Just explain what's important for us to know about these updates.
Oh, absolutely. They are so every application and especially operating systems have millions of lines of code in them, and there's always mistakes in there. Sometimes it's performance, but a lot of times it can be security, and it's those mistakes that the bad guys will find and try to exploit. Some of the biggest exploitations out there that aren't done by phishing are actually done by like systems that just haven't been patched in a long time. They're not inventing some new hack. They're just building off of what already exists. And so it's sort of like you lost a key to your house and you just said, well, it's too expensive to replace the lock, so I'm just going to wing it and just let that key kind of float around town. No one would do that in real life. They would immediately go out and get a new lock. Well, thankfully, this doesn't even cost that much. It's just a time sink at worst to get these browser updates or these OS updates.
Are there some, let's focus on browsers for a hot second. Are there some browsers that are more susceptible to this than others?
Yeah, it's really based on the popularity of the browser.
Okay.
So you could use a really sort of niche browser like Opera, which very few people even know about. And there won't be a lot of attacks because there's no point to it. Where things like Chrome or Firefox or Edge is Microsoft's Edge is kind of building its base a little bit, but it's still not very popular. The most popular one being Chrome has a lot of attacks on it. And so there's constant updates because there's people always trying to find a way to exploit that browser. The reason is that's the best way to make any money.
Can you go into a little more detail about that? What do you mean that's the best way to make any money? Sorry.
Well, if I'm going to go and try to exploit something and do something bad, I'm not going to go for the niche. I'm going to go for the most used thing in the world. So
Yep.
Chrome is one of the most used, and so it's incumbent on them to be efficient with their bad acting and try to actually go after something that'll make them some money.
Got it. Okay, so then, as in essence, what are some things that I can do then to best protect myself?
Well, thankfully for OS updates, Microsoft's been a little bit more friendly with this. Back in the day, you really had to actually actively go and update your system and make sure to remember to do that. Now, Windows 10 and Windows 11, they try to do that a little bit more for you. And what you'll do is you'll see that little orange dot that kind of shows up on your shutdown menu or on the right-hand side of your screen saying, hey, you need to reboot to install these updates. Really, that's all you have to do. But if you just went into the start and then there's a little settings icon and then, or even at the bottom in the search bar at the bottom of your screen, just type in Windows Update. It'll take you right to where you need to go. So the OS updates are actually really simple now, and it kind of handholds you through it. Browser updates are a little more complicated. It's not terrible. Basically for Chrome and for Firefox and even for Edge, you need to go into the Help menu and then click About. And for some reason, that's where the updates exist. They don't exist in like an update button. And
Wait. Where do I find the help button on my? I'm using Chrome right now. I don't see help at all.
It's different for every browser. I use Firefox, so there's a different spot. But I will pull up my Chrome. I wish I could. So yeah, I'll share my browser here with you. So really, all you have to do is there's these three little dots on the upper right-hand corner.
Those things. Okay.
Yep, they actually have a lot of functionality. You click on that and you can do a whole bunch of stuff. But the big thing we're looking for here is towards the bottom. There's this help. And then all you need to do is go to About Google Chrome.
Mm-hmm.
And that's going to pull up this. And you can see it's immediately starting to check for updates. And this is great. Mine actually does need an update. I don't use Chrome very often, so that's why it does need one.
Okay. I was going to shame on you.
I'm actually a Firefox guy, which
Gotcha.
they're about the same. They have some minor differences in how they sort of run the internals.
Okay.
But as you can see, it's just kind of going like that. And it's just going to ask you to relaunch it. And that's pretty much it.
Okay.
And once
Oh, wow.
and it can show you all the things. And there's usually some new features that can be added in as well. But the biggest thing is the security updates, because it may not be a website that you are going intentionally like a bad website.
Mm-hmm.
There was a newspaper, and this was years ago, but it still happens, but this can happen on Facebook or a newspaper website where they were selling ad space to somebody else. Well, that ad space provider actually got attacked and they got hacked. And so the bad people were embedding the malware or the attack inside the ads that were then fed to a newspaper, which then fed those ads up, allowing them to propagate multiple times over. And it's like 3 deep in before you get to the bad person, but it really doesn't matter if your browser is the one that's overtaken. And there are many, many bad things that can be placed in these browsers. There's things that can immediately just steal anything that's, if you have passwords saved in your browser, they can scrape that off. They can sometimes even inject other sorts of malware that can then feed other things inside there. So
I know there's a future topic in there, but do you recommend saving your passwords through Google?
I don't usually, just because of that one reason.
Gotcha. Okay.
It is handy, but there are actually some really good free tools out there that people can use that we can definitely touch on at another time.
Okay, sounds good. All right, cool. So back to the OS and the browser. Then let's say again from our prior discussion, maybe we didn't update in time. Is there anything specific that's different than what you've shared already that we should do, or is it the same process?
If it's been hit already,
Yeah.
Then at that point, it's at best find because I have a little more technical background, I would actually download a separate virus scanner that's sort of a self-contained package that will scan your computer before I do any updates. That way I scrub it out. But if it's, let's say you got to a site and you're pretty sure you got hit, it's probably better to turn it off if you're not that technically skilled, if you don't feel comfortable with that, and then take it to a local PC repair person and say, hey, I think I got hit. They'll probably scan it real quick. It won't take that much time, and they'll make sure. It's better to be safe than sorry, because even if, let's say, you get hit and you try to do the updates later, there can be some malware that gets put in there that will prevent that update from even taking place.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Okay. I mean, there's scarier things out there. I knew of one where they infected the person, used the exploit, and then patched the exploit for everyone else. And so it looked like you were patched, but you weren't.
Dang.
So they do a really good job of hiding their tracks nowadays.
These folks are diabolical. Oh my gosh. All right. So from this conversation we've had thus far, it sounds like, again, this is another necessary step in order to take control of your connected life and to feel safe in the digital world. What are the 3 top things out of this discussion that you would say, if I've listened to these 3 items or 2 items, I have to make sure that I'm doing?
I would say the 2 items, real simple. One is pay attention to when Windows is saying there's an update and just restart your computer. It shouldn't be that big of a deal. It may take a few minutes. It's a time sink at the worst, but it doesn't cost you anything. And then I would set a personal schedule, either like just mentally or on your calendar, to say once every 2 weeks, run that update check on Chrome or on Firefox or on Edge, whichever one you use. Just run that update. That's going to save you a lot of headache. It's that whole ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure.
Got you. And then this is a message from my wife then, because this is a cell phone type deal. She's notorious for not updating the OS on her phone. And
oh boy.
Okay. And so same situation.
Yep. There's some scary stuff I've heard about that. There's a company, I can't remember what country they're in. They're paid 7-figure stipends from multiple other countries, and their entire job is just to break into iPhones.
Oh, wow.
And once they break into iPhone, they sell that exploit to the highest bidder, and they keep getting their money. So because if you break into one iPhone, you can break into them all. And so those OS updates are massively important for iPhones because it's one type of OS and it goes over all these mobile systems.
All right. So then, not to make this a lengthier podcast, but and actually, you know what? Let's hold off and let's make that a separate one, because
absolutely.
I have questions and it'll help me influence my wife to update her phone. So
totally understand.
Yes. All right. Well, Josh, thanks again for helping out with some of these helpful tips. And for all of our listeners, please let us know what you think about the show and share some ideas, especially security tips that either you employ or that you have questions about. Josh, thanks again for your time.
Not a problem, Vernon. Thank you.
All right, until next time.
Thank you for listening to Show and CL Tell. If today's topic resonated with you, let us know. Send an email to cltell@cltell.com because we'd love to hear from you. To learn more about us, visit our website at cltell.com or call 641-357-2111.